Stranded on the island of her yesterday. Freedom was her ocean, but she got swept away. Little princess dreaming got lost somewhere in the way. Left behind. She's been going at this all alone since she was 9. But God loves you, He's got a plan for you. She's heard all the lies, but when she opens up her heart, nobody's got the time. Could this be the day that you come to the rescue? She's desperate for the light, but she's never gonna ask you. One word, one hand. Tell me, is that too high a price? One awkward moment could be the one that saves her life. Your hurt, your scars, God will use to open up her eyes. One awkward moment, you'll see the gospel come alive. Come alive. Who are you to say? You've got shipwrecks of your own. You're too young in your faith. She's a smart one. She will see right through your masquerade. You're scared that what you don't know might push her away. But don't cave to the weight of the fear that you're feeling. 'Cause she's standing right here and you're here for a reason. One with one hand. Tell me, is that too high a price? One awkward moment.
Good evening, everybody. We'll be right with you.
One that saves a life. Your scars, God will use to open up your eyes. One awkward moment, you'll see the gospel come alive. Come alive. One word, one hand. Tell me, is that too high a price? One awkward moment could be the one that saves a life. Your hurt, your scars, God will use to open up your eyes. One awkward moment.
Awesome. Can you see me? Awesome. Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. We've got about 5 more minutes. We're loading up.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Is that too loud?
Good.
Awesome. You had a good day? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh my gosh.
There's plenty of stuff to talk about.
There's too much going on. I don't even know where to start.
That's all right, but the Lord's moving, boy. He is moving.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Boy, he is. And we definitely need him too. Hey, Shelly Stevens, hi, Ada. I'm going to connect my... I'm going to do a sound check.
From the road, I will bring you in.
I'm going to see if I can connect you to this Bose.
When your wildest dreams wash away,
My music's fixing to go away.
rescue you
I can get it connected.
When you lose, when you rise, when you don't feel strong enough.
All right.
Everybody needs
It's all right.
to pick me up.
We're going to do it like that.
Down on me. Come on, baby, come on by. Everybody falls down.
All right, who this is, they're good.
Lose hope, it'll be all right.
Need to breathe. All right, you ready?
All ready.
All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started tonight. I want to welcome everybody to the Ezekiel's Real Show tonight. I'm Dr. Missy Hood, and I'm with Mayor Al Cirulli. He's back. The mayor from New Jersey, talking tough talk politics tonight. Oh, my gosh. And I think we've got a show for you. Mayor Al, how are you doing tonight?
Excellent, excellent. How about you, Dr. Missy?
I'm doing pretty good. Can everybody hear pretty good? Can you hear okay?
I'm good.
I'm going to fade that out. I can hear you. You know what? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start as far as talking points. I sent you the list of talking points and things like that I kind of wanted to talk about, but I'm leaving it open because there's just so much to cover. But I want your critique on AG Barr. What's your take on AG Barr and all this thing going on? I'm so disappointed with him right now. That's just my personal opinion on that, which is probably not needed. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's you try to figure out what's going on, but one thing I just want to impress, and I know most of your audience has got to be at Christians, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the Lord's got this. So anytime you get a little concerned about what's going on, he gave you the most powerful weapon possible, and that's prayer. Now, sometimes, I would have hoped that he would have done more at this point, but just know that he's got it, and it's going to happen when he wants it to happen. There's so much stuff that's coming out. I saw the last night, the debate. Boy, can Joe Biden lie? I mean,
I know.
Oh
my gosh. I was like, somebody help them here.
What did he say? He said, show me the tape. And I've seen the tape. And Donald Trump said, I
have seen
that. So,
yeah. He called him out right there. And did you see him backtrack?
Yes.
He was totally backtracking. Did you see him backtrack? And it was like, and then he was looking out at the audience. I don't know who he was trying to get direction from, but it seemed like Joe Biden was looking at the audience like, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? Kind of a look.
It's the truth. I mean, what you're seeing, what's going on right now, and you have to think spiritually right now. There's no more middle ground. There is no more middle ground. You're either with the Lord or you're anti-Christ. I mean, if you look at, some of the arguments that they come up with about anything, it's so absurd that it's demonic. And the leaders of the Democratic Party right now, and their platform is anti-God. It's anti-Christ. They don't want God. They state that. So just know that we're in a time right now where the Lord is he promised us the third, the last, and the greatest revival the world is ever going to see. And it's starting. It's already started. Little things you start seeing. I'm sure everyone, your listeners, can relate to that. But I'd like to say it's real exciting what's going on, but I'd be lying. It is exciting, but boy, it wears you down. A lot of prayer going on.
It does. It wears you out.
Yeah, a lot of prayer going on for the country. I know, it's like right now, we're just getting ready for the next week, starting Sunday, right up until the election. My churches and churches all over this state and the country that are going to be open 24/7 for prayer for this president, because this is a God-appointed and anointed man that's in there right now. He's not a politician. You don't have to like him, but look at what he's doing. And he is a growing Christian. He's growing every day. He's got God-fearing men and women around him that pray for him. He prays before every meeting. And you're watching a miracle take place right now. And the whole world is watching what's going right on in this country. You can look at also.
Did you catch AOC?
No.
Did you catch AOC in her comment and how she stated she was offended that he called her AOC? And I thought, nothing, speaking about the demonic, nothing. It's like she's thrown in there as a wild card to me that never makes any sense. It's like she walks backward everywhere she goes and into everything. And so I didn't even get the comment there and what that was meant for. Did you catch that at all in the news?
No, I didn't. You know what? I stayed away from the news because it just totally infuriates me. And then I got to repent all the time. You know, it's like I pray for their souls. That's what the Lord tells us to do, you know, but, you know, there's righteous anger that has to, you know, there's times you have to step up and do what you have to do. I don't pay attention anymore to what she says or what Schumer says or, you know, the rest of them, because it sickens my heart where these people are and they're totally lost, you know, because if you don't have the Holy Spirit, we're in a time right now, it's either the Holy Spirit or it's going to be a demonic spirit. And that's what it is. So if you try to sit back and analyze it, that's the only explanation right now. But you're going to see a lot of fantastic things happening coming up. So don't be downtrodden. But I will tell you right now, and to all the listeners out there, you have as Christians a moral obligation to get out there and to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You must vote, and you must vote righteously. And I don't, you know, there are a lot of you've got Republicans that are not righteous, but right now,
I know
the president is your man, and you can only vote right now for the sake of your own states and this nation. And I truly believe that I feel it in my soul that Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide. He's going to win by such a wide margin.
I do too.
Because he has the hand of God on him that when they try to play the electoral fraud, not the electoral, but the balloting fraud in the swing states, it's not going to make a difference.
That's what everybody's saying. That's interesting that you say that, because I'm getting that in my spirit too, that it's such an overwhelming, it's like everybody is just so fed up with everything. And they're like, enough of this already. And now we're finding out too that Saudi Arabia is involved. I don't know if you heard about that they're working behind the scenes with China, trying to take us down. America didn't believe it. We didn't believe it could ever happen to us. And here we go. And God's like, well, you let these people with idols in their hearts and they have idols and they bring idols into your land. I warned you about that from the beginning. And then here you are. They're at your gates, just like I told you they would be if you didn't listen to me and you didn't keep your house clean. And so now God is cleaning house now. He's cleaning house starting in the church. The church doesn't believe that he's doing a colonic there. And he's not just doing a colonic in our nation. Now he went from the nation, started in the church, the nation, but also personally now, cleaning house and saying, get your house clean. Choose this day whom you're going to serve. So that takes me right into this next topic with you. So like, we all know the whole idea with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. We've been talking about good old Joe. And I mean that respectfully for everybody, but what do you believe the level of their espionage is right now with China?
What they're saying, if you followed Rudy Giuliani and the things that the president's been popping out, they're right on the money. You're talking about a president that would be compromised. Eventually, it's going to come out, and I don't know if you've heard different things, but remember when before Obama was out of office, the news came out that we dropped off a pallet with $1 billion on the Iranian. Well, the word was, the thing that's coming out, and we'll see how far it goes, was that the Obama administration, including Hillary Clinton, what they did is they were working with Iran, and Iran had bin Laden. They had Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Well, just before they were ready to pull the raid, the rumor is that Osama bin Laden was taken out and brought back to Iran. And when SEAL Team 6 went in, they killed his double. And they were told by the people that were in there, the women there, that was his double. They killed him. And they took the one and who they said was Osama bin Laden, and then wasn't it kind of peculiar that they said they did a burial at sea? You know, they didn't bring it back.
That's what everybody's saying,
right?
Because they always bury Muslims with their head facing east. That's what they were saying, towards Mecca. And so, yeah, I caught that about a week and a half ago when they were bringing that out. And you know what? That's all coming out now. And I'm just like, holy smokes, where were we as Americans? Were we just like a doe in the headlights and just totally so caught up in our own worlds that we didn't pay attention to any of that? But I don't think part of it, I don't think we would have had knowledge about because it was intelligence.
How would you know if your own president and the highest level of your intelligence agencies would not letting it out? And the thing was, and then just to add to that, what they did is they blackmailed Obama to let loose the 152 billion, other they were going to let that out. So that's basically what happened. And then what happened next, think about this, most of SEAL Team 6, they were killed while they went out on a mission. And there was a setup made, and the rumor is that it was taken down with one of our Stinger missiles. So because SEAL Team 6 knew about it. So we haven't heard anything yet. So you had a president that was basically blackmailed by Iran.
Another country.
And now you would have had China doing the same thing with Joe Biden if he gets in. And that's why this is coming out.
Yeah.
So people saying, oh my God, look at all this bad stuff. No, the Lord is exposing all this stuff. Just like you said, from the churches went up to the school, everything is being exposed. And now it's up to us to clean it up and make it right.
Doggone right. So you know what? I remember when that stuff happened with SEAL Team 6 because my late cousin's husband, she's deceased now, but when she was alive, that was going on, and her husband used to train Navy SEALs. And when all that happened, I remember her talking to me, and she said, "This is horrible. Nobody knows what's going on. I mean, it's horrible." And so, yeah, when that came out too, I was just flabbergasted, absolutely flabbergasted that would ever happen in our military. That's friendly fire. I mean, totally blatant friendly fire. And and that takes us over into Benghazi. Sorry?
It wasn't friendly fire that brought it down. They were told where they were going, and it was taken down by the enemy. But we supplied the missile.
Wow. So that leads us into Benghazi. Oh. So I think what is your take on Benghazi too? And with all that, that's a wreck. I mean, there's just so much. Just so much.
They knew. I mean, and we had our forces with, what was it, 10, 15 minutes to send helicopters in there to take our people out. It's kind of amazing. But I had read and I listened to a different podcast where everything that's being withheld from the American people is being exposed to the people in the Middle East. How Hillary and Obama worked with the Muslim Brotherhood to try to overthrow Egypt. Remember when that went on? They know what's going on, and the people of America don't know what's going on because 95% of the media is controlled by the deep state. That's what's going on, and we have to tear that down too.
You know, too, sir. I don't know if America is really aware what the plan of the one world government is. And I don't know what your take is on this, but this is my take, is in regards to, what they went in after Venezuela. They were talking about, well, Sweden has taken up socialism. They've adopted socialism. And then they went after, the deep state went after Venezuela and took out that dictator, basically, and that government. And Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in the world. Yes, and so I don't know if America's aware of the reason why they want to bring on the one world government, which is so they can put thug dictators in control all over the world, so they can keep lining all these evil people's pockets and taking it off of the rich, taking it off and keeping the poor, so that they don't ever rise up. We don't ever have a middle class again. And it's to keep this evil cycle going so they can just continue living high off the hog, off the backs of innocent people. So have you ever heard anything about that? And if so, what is your take on that?
Absolutely. It's the absolute truth. Again, go back to Obama and Hillary. When they went into Libya, what they were doing was destabilizing all those countries in the Middle East. And it breaks my
Agreed.
heart to say, but since Ronald Reagan, every president since then, up until Donald Trump, has been complicit in that, including the Bushes, starting with the.
Agreed.
There's no
Agreed.
doubt about it. We saw it. I couldn't believe it. I remember when he said the father, when he said a new world order, I almost fell off my chair. And I had met George Bush Jr. in person when he first started to run, and I had the honor of going to meet him at the Sheraton Hotel on his campaign at Newark Airport, and I stayed, and he stayed there until he spoke to everybody. And then when I looked and I saw that, and I got to speak to him, I was like flabbergasted. But the one question I asked him, I said, "Are you going to bring back God to this government?" And he said, "That's what we're doing it for." But yet, you can make ties right now, because you saw what happened after the trade centers were hit. What they flew out all the Saudis that were in this country, and the stuff that's coming out. Eventually, it's all going to come out. But people are standing up. You have Julius Assange, right? Who I thought when it first came out, I thought he was a traitor. But after what I looked at what he did, the man should be given the highest honor.
He should win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Him and the other gentleman.
Going back to Bush, who was the other gentleman? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Edward Snowden?
Gentleman, yes. Snowden too. They exposed what basically is going on. And this stuff's been going on for 50 years. And like I said, all those presidents, almost 30 years, this country, they're putting people in charge in different positions, into education, to do what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, I used to, going back to Bush, it's interesting. I used to work for him, and when he was governor in Texas, and it was the strangest feeling, because I never could figure out why. There was always something wrong in my spirit about him, and I never could figure out why I could never fully get on board. And it ended up being one of the reasons why I left, actually, because I just thought I don't know. It was just something off. And then I watched him progress into the presidency, and I voted for him, but it was like, it was just always something wrong. But the day after 9/11, when he stood there with that bishop on 9/11 ground zero, and everything, it was like he made this statement, we're going to go get them. And I thought, that's insincere. He doesn't mean that. But why doesn't he mean that, Lord? I had to ask myself, there's something wrong here. And so I don't know what your take is on that, but that's really exactly what I thought about that. And then from then on, I started questioning his level of integrity.
He wasn't as radical as the ones he was running against, but he was a member of Skull and Bones too, when he was in college.
Yeah.
And I remember when that came out, then I started feeling it myself. But you remember, in order for them to do what they want to do, and this is demonic again, it's what the Lord tells us about in Revelation. You have to destroy the United States. You have to bring down the United States. And Christianity and world government, they don't mix. They don't mix.
No.
So they have to crush the Christian.
It's antichrist.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was just talking to my mom tonight. Because I was thinking about how many blessings and what a blessing America has been to the world, in the sense, I mean, they can try to say, well, you're the great Satan or blah, blah, blah. But we've been a tremendous blessing to the world as far as going in and fighting wars and helping to rescue the least of these, so to speak. And so I look at it now and I'm thinking, how did we get here? How did we get here? And I think it's really more in our inattentiveness and our refusal to speak, our refusal to rock the boat and saying, hey, that's not God, knock it off. Right. And refusal to stand up for righteousness, because people were too caught up in their own lives instead of being about their Father's business. And here we are. So with that, sir, we're dealing with lockdowns again all over the nation and all over the world. I just talked to a friend of mine in Australia the other night, and she goes, "We're going into our second lockdown." And I thought, good night. We're still locked down. so, so it's like, we're still trying to work our way out of the first one. So, any thoughts on when this might end? What are we looking at here? Mask, all that garbage.
Remember what the president said when this first happened. He said, you can't allow the cure to be worse than the cause, right? So what they're doing now is basically they're instilling fear in our young people, in our senior citizens, and they're trying to train us basically to do the thing, get used to this. When we tell you to do something, you're going to do it. But it's not going to be like that in this country. It's not going to happen. And I could tell you in New Jersey, because we have a governor, all right, that's so far off the tracks and on the left that people are revolting. Not only in this state, but you're going to see it in New York City. Because don't be surprised if New Jersey and maybe New York are going to vote for Donald Trump.
If they do what?
They're going to vote for Donald Trump. I think New Jersey is going to be very close. Very close. I belong to an apostolic center, Christian Revival Center. There are apostolic centers that have been forming in this state. And about 10 years ago, we had top prophetic people that went to where there's a point, I forget, it escapes me, where there's a point that you have Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, and they prophesied over that about 10 years ago. Chuck Pierce, if you know Chuck, you know Chuck Pierce, and apostolic centers have been forming, given the mandate to pray for revival. And New Jersey is the gateway state, because through New Jersey and New York, that's when a large portion of your immigrants come. So the Lord has promised there will be revival. And as that revival hits this state, it's going to swing westward, north and south. And this country will have and see the greatest revival that has ever taken place in our time here on this earth.
That makes me happy. That makes me extremely happy. Because I mean, everybody's saying that too. Everybody's talking about revival and get ready. God's turning this ship around. And I think, like, even in the last, thank you, Holy Spirit, in the last 3 days, I don't know about you, but the level of witchcraft that has reared its head, and I'm feeling it everywhere. I'm seeing it everywhere, where everybody's disconnected. They don't want to engage. They don't want to be bothered. It's just total exhaustion. And I feel like the enemy's trying to isolate us, to get us not to vote, not to participate, and also in a spirit of indifference. And so I've been talking to our teams today about that, about, pushing your way through that, pressing through that area, because now is the time for us to be engaged. It's the time to stay abreast of the issues, be attentive to what's going on around you. But we're going to get through the election, but then they're talking about after the election, we're possibly going to have violence and things like that. Have you heard anything about that at all? What do you think about that?
They have said, the opposition has said that they would, if he wins. It's going to be in the inner cities mostly, but God's people, the Lord has been telling me for 3 months, be prepared, and I know other people, and the things that we're supposed to be prepared. We should have some food, because there will be some stuff messed up, but God's people and your patriots,
get your toilet paper.
Not only toilet paper, but they've armed themselves. And they're going to protect. The Lord doesn't expect you to sit there and watch your family be murdered, your homes burned down. You're to defend yourself. And they're going to try it. And I think they're going to be in for a big surprise real quick, because you've already seen people start to fight back. They're not going to stand there. Even people that call themselves Democrats, who they don't understand, because you've got some good people, but this is not the leadership of the Democratic Party today. Is not what it was 25 years ago. It's totally
Agreed.
demonic right now. And you see it through AOC and the squad. Their mission is to destroy this nation, because then they can swing into full effect the world government. But the Lord right now is a time of saving souls. So the greatest thing, as you and both of us know, is prayer. So when you begin your prayer, the first thing you have to do is bind all the powers and principalities, the principalities of witchcraft, shamans, witches, warlocks. Bind them and befuddle their minds in the name of Jesus Christ. And whatever they throw at us, you just pray that it goes back and hits them. But we're in a spiritual war right now. It's just like being in this when we were growing up and kids in the playgrounds where, if you got into a fight, you're there fighting. But we had to do it spiritually. And you know what? There's going to be a time where we're going to have to stand up in the natural, not only with our mouths, but you might have to defend yourself. But I think the enemy is going to be in for a big surprise. But we have to keep on praying. You just can't let down. And just be thankful we live in a country.
I agree. I think that, Americans are getting prepared for that by God, to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, prepare for the worst kind of a thing. And I just think, it's a place we've never been before. We keep hearing that too. We've never been here before, but I really think God's putting a new grace on us to get us ready for the times ahead, because things are getting darker. The darkness is still getting darker, even though we're preparing for revival. And God gives us a brain and he expects us to use it. And I think that's what your common sense talk is really, really referring to. But moving on into Amy Coney Barrett confirmation. Have you noticed that the Democrats are oddly quiet about her?
I mean,
nothing like Kavanaugh. Nothing like Kavanaugh.
No, you know why? Because the more they attack this woman, the more it's hurting them. And they're starting to learn that. This woman has impeccable credentials, and they're going to attack her because she's a woman of faith. I mean, what are they going to call her, a racist?
I know.
They can't call her a racist now, can they?
No.
They can't do that.
No, she's brilliant. Actually, I think she's absolutely brilliant in the way that she's handling herself. And I don't know if you caught that. I was actually surprised it was John Cornyn on TV where he was questioning, goes, well, did you have this written down somewhere? And she held up this blank piece of paper. That's how brilliant she is.
How about some of the questions?
But I was taking
the one question that really sticks in my mind. I think it was a senator from Hawaii that asked her if she's ever been accused of sexual harassment. I mean, I said, are you for real? She's a Superior Court judge, a federal judge. They would have removed her immediately. But I mean, people that weren't believers, even, they started thinking, you start to see through it. And I love it because every tactic that they have used, the Lord has turned it right against them. And Donald Trump, he's brought us the grace period. He's brought us that grace period. And this man has put everything on the line. He's put his fortune on the line. He's lost a fortune besides.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because last night in the debates, I was listening to him and I actually thought he would bring up the fact that, hey, I've donated, because they were like, why don't you pay your taxes? And why don't you do this? And I was thinking, I would bring up the fact that I've donated every paycheck since I've been in office to charity. I mean, that's a huge, they're trying to say you don't pay your fair portion. I would have thrown that right up in his face. And I was really surprised that he didn't do that last night. But I mean, obviously he had other points to make, so he made them very well to me. And I was actually, I think he held us cool really, really well too last night, because I think he's so fed up with all their garbage that he just doesn't care anymore. But I feel like he has to care because of where we're at, and we're so close to the election too. So I don't know what you thought about that, but that was my take.
I've been involved in debates in all the years I've been here. And there's two things. Number one, his campaign, his people told him to try to relax more and not interrupt, and to be calm. And then the second thing is, you don't have enough time to come back and to counter the lies. And boy, Joe Biden. I mean, how could people lie? I don't know how people can live with themselves, because the lies that he's bringing out, and I thought he handled himself well. I mean, I feel sorry for him, because I know he's got a medical condition going on, and
Me too.
so I don't wish bad on him. Again, I pray for his soul, but people see through this. And Donald Trump, there's enough stuff out there of what he's done, people that he's helped, and basically stayed anonymous.
Yeah.
So the Lord's got him covered, and so long as he follows the Lord, he's going to be good, and that's good for us.
Yeah. Do you think the cheating's going to make a difference, like the fraud? Because I was thinking about that yesterday too, about all the ballots they're throwing out. And you know what? Oddly enough, Mayor, I have a piece about that, but I don't ever want to take anything for granted. And so I was curious about what your thinking was on that.
Yeah, when I get to my human side, I was worried about it. In fact,
baseball bat. No.
Is there going to be fraud? Yes, there's going to be fraud. And you heard that, the Pennsylvania, right? They extended the voting deadline for 3 days after November 3rd. That's outrageous. It went 4-4 in the Supreme Court. Outrageous. But I truly believe, you're not outsmarting the Lord. He's going to win so big that cheating that they're going to do in the swing states isn't going to make a difference. And all our black brothers and sisters, a good portion of them now, they see. They
do. And it's amazing. I don't know. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, who was the representative that got shot? And it was a Democratic representative. Her husband is Kelly. He was an astronaut, I believe. And he's running for office right now. And I think it's in Arizona, actually. And they're saying, get out and vote. I think McAnally, I think her name is McSally or McAnally.
Sally, yes. Sally. I know, I contributed to her campaign.
But there's...
yes.
Well, they're saying that we need to get out. We need to get Arizona to go out and vote for her, because if he wins, it can mess up the vote, taking Ruth Bader Ginsburg's place. Have you heard anything else about that?
Well, what's her name? Barrett's going to be confirmed probably Monday. That they're going to bring it to a vote Monday. So
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Woo, that's awesome.
A vote on Monday. They're not going to fool around. I mean, it's so blatant what they're doing that, you know what, the president's doing. He's not breaking the Constitution. He has a right to do that. And the rest, thank God, the rest of these senators, at least the Republican senators, see exactly what's going on. You're talking about the soul of a nation right now. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is your country. You want to see what it could end up like? Look at Venezuela. They could say you can vote in socialism and communism, but to get it back, your freedom, you're going to have to fight.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it would have to be a war. That's why they're going after your guns, which isn't going to happen.
And then there's someone here that just posted a comment on here about she's in California, so there are supposed thugs in hotels waiting to be released.
Yes.
For violence purposes and whatnot. And I haven't heard about that. I've heard about it through some voices and friends, but I don't know what I think about it. Have you heard anything about that at all?
And they were going to have it in key cities. And why not? California has always been off the map. Yeah, I mean, they were talking about it in the 60s, right? They were always saying, wow, California, California. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, the Lord hasn't, there must be enough Christians in California praying that California hasn't been dealt. I mean, the forest fires through all these years, they don't see that by now. But I'm surprised a tsunami or the great quake hasn't taken that whole state out. But it's by the grace of God and God-fearing people in California.
Yeah. Well, supposedly I've heard too that California might go all red for the first time in years.
It wouldn't surprise
me. And I was like, what?
Either.
That was last week. And I thought, whoop. I know. And I was talking to my late cousin's wife about a week ago. She said that she lives in Santa Monica, and she was at the DMV there, and they are so disgusted with all the looting because Santa Monica is a beautiful city, and there's so many businesses that are all boarded up now. They've been shut down for months, and she was so funny. My mom and I were talking to her in the car phone, and she's like, "You know what, Missy?" She goes, "This city," she goes, "these government officials," excuse my mouth, she goes, "they suck." And she was saying this out loud in the middle of the DMV. "They suck. Newsom sucks." And I was like, "Peggy, shh, shh." I was like, "You're in public." She goes, "I can't believe." She goes, "I've been waiting an hour." Or no, she goes, "I've been waiting for 4 hours at the DMV." And we were just like trying to do damage control because I didn't want anybody to hurt her, obviously. And I didn't know how liberal they were, but they're fed up. California's fed up with all the crap and all the shutting down of churches and things like that that's going on right now. And so I wouldn't be surprised at all if it turned all red. Not at all. Not at all. But that'd be a blessing in disguise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, you want to see that? I mean, if you saw that, there's the hand of God moving on that. But getting back to the pandemic, the pandemic is really over. Really, it's really over.
Agreed.
And of course, you're going to see some outbreaks, but some people getting it. But 99.9% of the people will get it and recover. My own daughter got it on the job. 3 days, she was over it. Kids are going to get it just like they get the common cough and stuff like that. The ones that what we should be doing is those that have upper respiratory problems. Those are the ones that have to be, they have to take the precautions. But what they're doing right now, they're just trying to keep you locked down. That's what it is, because they're trying to destroy the economy. Because when people can't work, feed their families, you're going to have civil unrest. So that's exactly
because they need a livelihood.
That's the truth.
Yeah. It's amazing. Because you're in New York, New Jersey, I was going to ask you this question earlier, but I was listening to Sean Hannity the other night, and Hannity was talking about how New York, because I love New York. I go to New York all the time. I've been there probably every year for 7 years doing ministry on and off, but I used to love, it's my favorite place to go to. And Hannity was talking about how it's like a ghost town now. Is that true at all? Is that what's going on in your city? And do you see that changing, turning around drastically?
I don't know. Look, what you remember when the ISIS took over parts of Syria? They destroyed that devil worshipping temple. Do you remember that? I forget the name of it, but they brought back a replica of that, and they put it in downtown New York. All right, this happened about a year. I think it's about a year and a half ago. They opened up spiritual doors to the demonic, and New York City right now is paying that price. People right now in New Jersey, all right, the last 6 weeks, if I put my house up for sale right now, there would be bidding wars on my house, because that's what's going on in the state of New Jersey right now, because people are leaving the New York area. They are leaving and up northern New Jersey because they know what's going to happen.
We've got a lot of license. I've seen a lot of license plates in Texas from upstate, New York, all over the place, and California. I mean, I've talked to another friend of mine who lives in Arizona, and she was telling me how she's a broker there, or excuse me, not a broker. She is a real estate broker. I guess they are brokers. But she said, "Missy, I've got enough work to last me for 3 years." She goes, we are in such high demand for houses because we're getting such an influx of people moving from California to Arizona, New Mexico, just trying to get out of these hot zones. I mean, and I agree with you too. A lot of it is because of demonic activity and things that have been opened up, which segues right into my next question to you. Have you heard about the possibility of this? Who's the woman that does the spirit cooking? That she's supposedly doing some spirit cooking against the election or whatnot. It's all over YouTube right now, and I think it's actually making its way into mainstream news. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the name. I haven't followed it, but if she is a spiritualist, quote, or witch, if you want to,
she's a witch.
There's no doubt about it.
Definitely.
Because, like I said, they know the time is coming, and this is, like I said, there's there's no middle ground. It's either Antichrist or Christ. So if they're practicing witchcraft, there's no doubt about it that she is doing it. So
Maria Amabrovich, that's her name. Maria Amabrovich. That's what people are saying in the box. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and they're even talking here. You can't even rent in Billings, Montana. People are getting out. They're getting out of these hot zone areas and whatnot. And then the other thing, I'm absolutely amazed because there's so much information coming out right now. Anthony Bourdain. It's coming out now too that he was a chef to the cannibalistic elites, and he was just getting ready to publish his book about everything that was going on about child sex trafficking, and everything. And then they took him out. They took Epstein out. But I was actually shocked when I read that. I read that on Parler, actually.
When you, oh my God, there were the stuff that, I mean, we haven't heard. Thank God that Maxwell, his assistant, is still alive. And I hope they were smart enough to get her and protect her. Like, I couldn't believe they sent Epstein to a federal prison in New York City. Like, are you kidding me? It didn't surprise me.
I know.
And I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I don't know why the federal government, but then again, you know, you have people, Hillary Clinton had said that if they bring me down, I'm taking 40% of Washington down with me. But Maxwell supposedly has already gave enough information out, and she would be smart to do that. This way, you know, they would know that they can't kill her and silence her, just like the man that turned over Biden's son, his computer, made copies and sent them all over the place because there's no sense in killing him because all the stuff is out. He copied the hard drive and sent it all over.
Oh, my God.
You're going to have top official, and maybe there might be some Supreme Court justices involved in that too.
I've heard that too. And I've actually been keeping my eye. I was listening to the Lord when Roberts approved the Obama insurance mess. And I asked the Lord, I said, no, God, that's not you. And the Lord said, you're right. It's not. He goes, he's been compromised. And he goes, but he's on his way out. And that was 5 or 6 years ago. And so I've been just kind of praying and waiting and decreeing over him because I know he's been corrupted. But I also think that he was, what do you say, blackmailed?
Yes.
That he was blackmailed by the Spirit. And so I think that that's so out of character for him. And I sense that they even threatened his family with that, which is because this is just so out of character, seems like. But top priorities that you think Trump will address after he's reelected. Where do you think that's going to headway, or where that's going to head?
The first thing, if I was in his shoes, he's going to take all the heads off of all the people that need to go in Washington. Remember how he struggled in the beginning? He got rid of this guy, then the next guy, because he never realized how deep the deep state went. He's going to clean house. You're going to see, like you said, we were disappointed, and supposedly 8 indictments came out, AG, but it wasn't top people yet. But I mean, when he gets reelected, that's all coming out, and they're going to be prosecuted. And Barr might end up going himself. Now he might be compromised too. So, there's no doubt that families are threatened all the time because for that reason. But he's going to clean house, and there will be indictments. They've got enough on Obama. They've got enough on Hillary. Oh, Hillary! Oh my God, Hillary and Bill. And Hillary is worse than Bill. Bill's problem was the sex things. He couldn't keep his pants on. That was his problem. He was compromised by the Chinese too. That was his problem.
Yeah.
Hillary is the one. Hillary is the one.
Do you think he was blackmailed? Do you think Bill was blackmailed?
Yeah, I think.
Or do you think that was free choice, freedom of choice?
Well, he was compromised. They sold missile technology to the Chinese when he was in office that advanced the Chinese ballistic missile stuff at least 10 years. They would have been 10 years further behind. They cozied up, just like Biden is totally compromised to not only China, but Ukraine, which means Russia. I mean, if God forbid if he got in, he's totally compromised. Can you imagine the president of the United States being blackmailed by?
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't do anything when the Crimea was taken over? Obama and the rest of them.
Yeah.
They let him walk in and take Crimea.
Well, it was all crazy. When I was, God put me in kind of a 12-year, no, probably an 8.5-year hiatus, actually, right when I was coming out of flying back and forth between New York and New Jersey. I was in ministry, and then he put me in an office management position for about 8.5 years. And when I worked there, it was a technology field. So we handled a lot of technology around our city. But the FBI came in and interviewed us, so to speak, to ask us if we had any knowledge about Chinese hackers or anything like that we've noticed on our systems. And before that actually happened to us, because I had to sit in on that meeting because I was the office manager there, but I was picking up in my spirit that Hillary Clinton had sold our intellectual capital. I think that's what it's called, our intellectual capital as a nation, and that she was selling it to China. I picked that up in my spirit, but I can't go tell everybody that. But I was picking that up and reading these articles in the news and about where did our uranium go and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, she sold it. She sold it. Are we that stupid? Are people? That's one thing that bothers me about politics. The politicians try to play nice instead of just calling people out and saying, we know what you did. Knock it off. We're coming after you. But it's like they skirt around these issues and they try to call it being professional. And it's like, no, now it's time. Choose this day. Whom are you going to serve? I don't know, because I don't agree with that. But what do you think about all that when all that went down?
That was high treason. That was high treason. How do you sell 20% of your uranium reserves to Russia when they're our number one enemy besides China? That's number one. Now, what can you and I do? We're not in any position to do it. If I came out and made a statement, and there were other people that wrote editorials and comments, but what do we have a Senate for? Why do we have a House of Representatives? Why do we have the FBI? What do we have the Department of Justice? If they're so corrupt, there's nothing we can do. And it took the direct hand of the Lord to come in, put a man in on the top, protect this man, because don't think that they haven't told us yet how many attempts have been thwarted right now on his life. And there are units of the military that are on standby, loyal units of the military that are ready to come in and protect the president when it has to be, if that ever comes to that right now. Because there are rogue elements in the CIA, we know in the FBI, Department of Justice, but thank God there are enough, there's enough righteous people here, and with the Lord on our side, we can't lose. We can't lose. As long as we do our part. The Lord won't move unless we do our part.
Agreed. You know, and it's interesting. Last night I was listening about another attempt that's actually been instigated against the president. And I think Nancy Pelosi was trying to signal it. And so was that governor. I want to say she's in either Wisconsin or Michigan, where she had a symbol in her background that said 8645.
I saw that.
In her background. Well, 86 is a restaurant term. Yeah, I did too. That means throw them out. And so they think that she was trying to signal, hey, let's move this thing. Let's move them out. And so I was just like, these people they're brazen. They're absolutely brazen. And had we done this to Obama, which we should have, oh my God, we should have. I mean, long before all this mess came out with him. And so we're finding out about that. Yeah, she's from Michigan. They're saying she's from Michigan. But moving right along because we've got a few more minutes before we wrap this up tonight. My concern right now is because Americans are notorious that once they get what they think that they want, instead of turning back to God and consistently seeking the Lord and getting back into position, I don't think America still realizes, this is just my opinion, how close we are. Just one election away from losing the country. I don't think they realize that. And so I guess I'm curious to see what you think about how we can stay connected as a society and keep from falling back into the background and losing our own voices.
Like I said, Donald Trump has bought us grace period. And right now the Lord is sifting. He's sifting the churches. He's sifting the people. He's sifting the sheep from the sheep. He knows your heart. He knows the remnant. He knows the remnant. He knows who, right now, he knows who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. We're in a period right now, save souls, salvation. That's what this whole period is for us and for the revival to take place. And we're going to see an outbreak. I truly believe as Trump, when he is declared the winner in this, you're going to see a mighty revival. And then I don't know what the Lord's going to do after that. I mean, if enough of the people stay on the righteous path, and we start electing righteous people into these positions, I can't put a time on this. I can't put a time on how before the Lord's going to come back. But you're right. There's some people they're still on the fence, and that's a choice. That choice is you're not with the Lord. That's it. There's only one. There's two choices, yes or no, and that's it.
Yeah, well, you know what? You know, Mayor Al, this has been exciting tonight. It's been a really interesting conversation, but I know that you probably got things to do tonight. But I guess prayer is just going to carry us through in that regard. But I hope you guys get out and vote, and I hope you're taking the dialogue seriously. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I can't thank you enough, and I guess I'll be talking to you after the election.
Yeah,
we'll compare notes.
I'm up for re-election this year too, so I've been out campaigning myself. But look for a great thing, and you'll see. I mean, it'll resonate with your soul. The things that you're going to see. Amen.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. This is Missy Hood with Ezekiel's Will, and we're going to let you go, and you have a great weekend. And we'll see you Monday on the 15-Minute Rev, guys. Good night.